Hello, divine, beautiful souls. This is Energy Speaks Podcast with your host, Catriel. So, on our last episode, we spoke about spiritual ethics. Um, so, I want to, I noticed when I was talking and I got really passionate and everything, I actually misspoke on one of the prayers. And I wanted to rectify that because, you know, that's always good to do. I said, I had said that there needs to be 10 people in order to do the Amidah. What I meant was I was speaking about the Amidah in one aspect, and two, the 10 people is like for a minyan in order to pray certain prayers, which is saying Kaddish, um, which is the upliftment of the soul. Um, you can 100%, pray the Amidah by yourself. And the significance of the Amidah is you should not be within a specific distance, like an auric field, about 5 feet. I think it's actually more, but I think it's 10. But uh, when someone's praying the Amidah, which is super interesting. But I wanted to at least resolve that because it was within my spirit to do so. And I want to also do a couple announcements here on Energy Speaks. So this past like half a year, okay, about 6 months, has been so epic, okay? Been here in Israel. I came, I left Israel in a very wild way. It was like, it was during um, the Parsha, Torah portion, that Moses is splitting the Red Sea. Reed Sea, and like there's this big momentum. Well, that mirror reflected here in my life in order, to break down the barriers that was keeping me, from moving forward and making Aliyah, to Israel. Now, I'm still in the process of making Aliyah. Still working through a little bit of that. But what's interesting is the fact that, the Torah really paints out like a specific energy flow, which is absolutely mind-boggling how it reflects in our everyday lives. Just as we can see the planetary energies reflect in our everyday lives. They're not separate. They are different aspects of looking at energy. Okay. Now, since then, like we're doing a little bit of recap. I have studied, first I came in on January 13th. I left January 12th, which was interesting because that was my grandfather's birthday. And then when I came here on the 13th, I was just getting integrated into being in Israel. It was cold. It's January. And I was staying in Yamin Moshe. Yamin Moshe is the first settlement outside of the old city. And so, since then, I moved 5 times. So that transition, about 10 days, right, of being in one of the most beautiful places that you could ever imagine, stone everywhere, right? And like you imagine like 6 bags and schlepping them upstairs, so like all of Yemi Moshe is like on these ancient stairs and of stone, and then my door was like a fortress. Like it was absolutely insanely amazing. So I spent 10 days of really soaking in on that energy. And during this time, we're in the energy of one Capricorn in the Gregorian calendar, and then in the Jewish calendar, the Hebrew calendar, you're in Shavat, which is an Aquarian energy. So let me paint a little bit of a picture. We have this like darker energy. The Capricorn energy is very restrictive. It can be. It provides boundaries. It provides segments. It's the same energy as like Kronos or Saturn, and so that at that point you have to have certain boundaries in order to be able to flow. And so we have that's 6 months ago. Today we're in the energy of the Cancer energy that's associated with the moon, and it also is Tammuz energy. So, excuse me. We have this kind of like, what was going on at this time? What was I thinking about? What was I going through? And I'm bringing this up to make a specific point. I'm kind of flowing with this one honestly, because I'm receiving some downloads here. One thing I like to do when I look at energy and I feel through energy is I like to also reflect on the energy that has been in the past. And how the best to do that is looking at the energy from 6 months previous, the halfway mark energy, 180 degrees, the reflection, and also looking at what was going on a year ago. And so right now we're in this energy of Tammuz / Cancer, and today is the fast of Tammuz, 17th of Tammuz. And what is this day? What is this day about? Well, one of the major aspects of today is that the golden calf was created. And what was the golden calf? Okay, so the golden calf was, okay, so we had this beautiful parsha, right? That is not long after the splitting of the sea by Moshe, right? And a couple passages later, we have we're now out of the land of Egypt, Mitzrayim, and we're trying to process all of this as a nation, as a people, of like everything we went through generations of being enslaved, and now we're out in this land in the desert, and we have nothing. We don't even really know what to do. We're free, but where do we go? We kind of see this type of energy when someone goes into prison. And you ever see Orange is the New Black? Okay, I haven't seen this in years, but this is what is coming through right now. So in the show, one of the characters actually is released from prison, and they didn't know what to do because they had everything taken care of when they were in prison. They had a meal. They had their basic necessities already, like there. Like, they were taken care of. And now it's this huge leap of faith of walking outside of what this person knew, right? Into a whole new world. A whole new world of like, whoa, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a plan. I was now just released, and where do I go from here? So a lot of times in this type of process, people go back to their old patterns and routines of what even got them into that prison. Wow, this is very enlightening for me because I'm like processing all of this. And how we have these residual energies of going back into our own patterns. So how does this relate to today? Okay, so as I'm talking about me coming in and I just was free, I got to Israel. It's I'm here. What am I doing with that? So I just spent 2 programs now studying at the CY. And that was very, very helpful for me. Why? Because I got to really enjoy the time with the people that were studying with me, my friends. And I did a regular semester learning all these different beautiful things, Talmud, Tanakh, like Jewish philosophy and modern thought and Chassidut and all these different things. And then going into the summer semester where it's a bit different, a lot more spiritual. And then, going into the gala that summed up everything. We had this beautiful celebration. It was a 50-year Yovel for the CY, the Conservative Yeshiva, and that we're going to be doing things differently. And going to have funding for it. And there was a announcement saying that this energy that we're cultivating from a spiritual aspect, we're going to be able to push that forward and have funding for it and have more classes like the Zohar and Jewish spirituality and really getting into the depths of tefillah and all of these beautiful things and putting together musical groups to be able to ascend our soul here. Now, whoa, that's huge. Now, I will say, 6 months ago, when I came into the conservative yeshiva, it was like night and day between the summer program and the regular program. At first, I wasn't 100% sure if I was in the right place. Now, a few episodes ago, I spoke about, coming in contact with a beautiful yeshiva called Yeshivat Simchat Shlomo. Now, it's a place that I study sometimes, and it's beautiful, okay? And it has the heart and the soul and everything, right? Okay, well, an aspect of me was like, I really want this same energy, okay, at the CY. And Hashem answered my prayers. And then while in the CY, we had the summer program, and I asked one of the rabbis there, Rabba Nava, and I asked her, I was like, can we do something musically in the new year? Like, can we put together a group where we come together and we play music and we really get into the tefillah, and maybe we even perform, like we help lead things, like can we do that? And she says, wow, this is a beautiful idea. A week later, I'm at the gala and we get all this funding to do exactly that. one of the things we can do through that program. And so, like, I like to kind of like reflect on the beautiful blessings that Hashem has gifted, and also the things that were like, okay, so those that last prayer that I was talking about, right, was part of something more, like part of a prayer that was even deeper rooted. That was when I first got here. That was during the time of the Capricorn Aquarius energy. The Tevet and Shavat energy. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. Now, okay, so let me go a little bit further here. So I break free. I get to Israel. I'm here. And what is difficult, I'm going to speak out my difficulties right here, right now, is things in the world right now, okay? Things have, the cost of living has gone up. And it's difficult. And Israel is one of the most expensive places in the world. And, sometimes we can get into our mind. Our mind is very, very different than our heart. Our mind is very beautiful, but when we're solely in the mind and not integrating it with our heart space, we can have a lot of fears come up, especially on our basic necessities. Now, again, 6 months ago, what were we in? We were in some form of Capricorn energy, which is 100% related to our basic necessities. If we think about the Maslow hierarchy of needs, the Capricorn energy would be at the very, very bottom of that, where the red is, for basic necessities. And so I'm reminding myself right now, and reminding all of you, that we planted certain seeds during that time. We planted certain seeds for us to reflect on during a very watery energy, Tammutz and Cancer energy. Okay, now, like I was speaking about in regards to the golden calf, because today is the fast of Tammuz. What happened is we were gifted instructions to start building this Mishkan, and decorating and everything. So it's funny because we have a street called Bitzalel here, and it was said that two different tribes, tribe of Yehuda and the tribe of Dan, were the artists on the job for creating all the beautiful things for the Mishkan, where we would have, eventually we would have the tablets and the ark, and like this would be the dwelling place of Hashem, essentially. And part of this, this energy, right, like, is creation energy, right? Okay, so we were just told to create all of this, and then in the next parsha, what do? We have all this creation energy, and we don't know what to do with it, right? And we create a golden calf, which we were told not to have any other gods besides Hashem. We don't make an idol. We did exactly the opposite. Now, sometimes we're forgetful people, okay? And I'm not talking about just Jews here. I'm talking about in general. And in general, humans can forget things. And it's our job to be there for one another to help us remember. Think about the word remember. Okay? We are remembering, putting back together all of the broken pieces, split pieces, and coming back into wholeness. Shalom. That's what shalom means, wholeness. Yes, it means peace, but that's the product of the wholeness. And so we have to remind ourselves that when we get into spaces of like forgetting about these basic things, these basic tools that we have, basic values, we have to remind ourselves to be there for one another. Like, what is a value that connects us all? Love. And so, part of the mistake about today is we forgot those beautiful values. And what ended up happening was Moshe got so upset. Came down from, had been up there 40 days receiving the tablets, right? Received the tablets already, but received essentially what would be the Mishnah Torah now, okay? The oral law. Comes back down, sees this idol in the front, and is like, what the heck, guys, right? Because we were in this creative energy, and we wanted to do something with it, and we thought we were doing something good, but we weren't, because it was misguided. And so Moshe takes the tablets and breaks them. Shows us the reflection of these dismembered parts. So we can remember and put them back together. And then, of course, later on throughout, the Torah, Moshe brings back down two more, or another set, I should say, of the Ten Commandments, of the tablets, right? Okay. So, what else happened on this day? This is also remembering of the destruction of the temple. It's not by chance that we have the same type of residual energy floating out there today, and they're happening at the same times of the year. So let's really, really get into what is the Tammutz energy and what is its positives, its negative, its neutral points. Okay. The Tammuz Cancer energy is a water energy. It's an initiator sign. Okay. It takes charge of things. It's caring. It's connected to the moon. It's about connection with the mother and the lineage. It's feeling into our emotions. It's feeling the depths of our soul. Okay? And water is connected with memory. Memory. Okay? And so it's for us to remember. What are we remembering? Okay, so what else is part of the Cancer energy? What house is it in? It's in the house of family. Okay? It's again that mother's love for us. when we're a child and we fall down and we need to be picked up, what is the first thing we like call out for? A lot of times it's our mother, because our mother really gets us. She can know that we already fell before we even have fallen. And so we all have a divine feminine within us, a nurturing aspect to ourselves. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves to say, hey, you need some care today. You are loved. I love you. And we say this to ourselves. Sometimes we don't hear it enough. Sometimes we completely forget and we do things for everyone else, which is not a bad thing. But there's a teaching in the Talmud that let's use the airplane mask thing, right? Okay, the same principle that's behind when you're on a flight, and if the air, oxygen mask falls, you don't put it on the other person first. You put it on yourself. Why? Because you can't help anyone without you being okay first. So we need to partake in this loving energy before we can share that with someone else, because how do we even know about it? If we don't give it to ourselves, how are we supposed to even effectively share that energy with someone else? Because we haven't filled our own cup. This is something that, us as healers, we forget. And now I'm here to help remind us all. And yes, I'm speaking to myself, 100%. So like I said, in Capricorn energy, a lot of fears can come up, right? I also want to draw a connection here of kind of put it in full. Why is there this symbiotic flow between the Cancer Tammutz energy and the Tevet Capricorn energy? As I said, it's 180 degrees away. Okay, so when the sun is in Cancer, the Earth is in Capricorn. And the same with, for instance, the moon. When we have a new moon, it will always be in the sun sign. So that would be, right now, the new moon would take us into the energy of Cancer, or Tammuz energy. And when the full moon comes around, it's exactly 180 degrees away. Capricorn energy. Okay, so what seeds did we plant during that time? All right. Like I said, we set some type of foundation. Again, it's also an initiator sign. And we are working through a lot of the energies that, seeing like a halfway mark of anything that we've planted during this time. So I encourage you to take a moment with yourself, okay? Fill your own cup, have a little meditation, and reflect on all the things you might be, you might been thinking about or experiencing during the month of end of December, January area, okay? And then really feel into it, and maybe even the things that you wanted to create during that time. When we get to a halfway mark, we can either decide to go forward with what we had planted, or we can choose to change it or completely nix it all together. But if we don't have the reminder of what we've been through, we may have forgotten all the things that we really wanted. Because we do have time, and time is 100% connected to the Tevet Capricorn energy. Time can be a gift for us, because that's what we have here on this planet. It can be a gift for us to really figure out where we want to invest our energy. Now, let's look at the Tammutz energy a little bit more. Tammutz, Cancer energy, has to do with water, like I said, and it's connected with the moon, the waves, the current sea. Ooh, interesting, right? The waves of emotion. So again, if we're wanting to maybe even look at our financial aspects here, why? Because the 10th house, the house of Capricorn, okay, is connected with our financial abundance, the things that we have wanted to build and invest in. And it's a direct connection with, again, the Cancer Tammutz energy. And so if we're kind of feeling like a little bit dried up, we need to remember the well. What did we plant during that time? What was brightening our heart? Where did we feel like our whole self? And build on that. Because sometimes in the moment, what we're building and we're maybe hitting roadblocks is because the energy is still transmuting. It's not ready yet. And sometimes it means we just need to take a small little break and then power through. But if we're getting sign after sign that things are like, roadblocks, that's saying something. Now, there also is the energy of powering through something. But we have to in order to power through something, we need to set the sacred space to be able to do so. So if you're feeling spread out and that you're unable to power through something, it's because the energy flow, there is a block in the way, and really realizing where can we shift it, because essentially if we keep doing the same thing over and over and over, that's the definition of insanity. It doesn't mean we don't need to power through the thing. It's just we just need to move some pieces around to create the space to be able to power through the thing, and it becomes way easier. Like, for instance, here's the announcement, guys. I love how it's a full circle. We get through to this point. This morning, I've been talking about this on previous shows. This morning, it was the first day where I was not in yeshiva, okay? It takes a lot of time being in yeshiva, okay? And it's not easy to handle certain tasks. Easy tasks sometimes. But if my energy is being invested in my studies, I'm receiving, right? And I'm receiving a lot of energy and a lot of information. And it's not easy to put things into practice because it's not the time for it, right? So about a week ago, for me to sit down and look at my podcast process and the platform and what I was using Simplecast. I love Simplecast. So I just want to say that. Thank you so much Simplecast for being there for me for the first year of Energy Speaks. If you guys ever get a chance to use Simplecast, they're a great platform to do a podcast. But something ended up happening where my financial means was not available for me to have Simplecast anymore. And I said, okay, this is a sign. I've gotten several signs now. I need to face my fear, talk to Simplecast, see what my options are. Because a lot of times we avoid it and then things blow up in our face. But when we can go head on in integrity, ask the questions, even if we fear the answer, maybe it's not as bad as we think. Because we're now taking the initiative, we're now taking responsibility, and now we're operating in integrity with going forward with what we want to do. So I talked to Simplecast. They were so beautiful. They said, okay, you can't afford this right now. We understand. Okay? And we hope that you'll return to us. But here's another option for you. You can 100% go to a different podcast platform that is either less expensive or doesn't cost anything at all. And we're going to show you exactly how to do it. I thought that was incredible, that even though I wasn't able to partake in their platform anymore, they gave me the exact answers I needed to be able to still allow for my podcast, Energy Speaks, to be active. They didn't shut my service off. They didn't do any of that. They worked with me. And part of it was I chose to work with them. Okay? And so, what happened? What happened next? So they gave me all the answers, and I wanted to work through this process about 2 or 3 weeks ago. But everything was happening at once, and I was in the middle of yeshiva, and it was too much to work through. And so it wasn't the time for me to do that. And so this morning, I had the time and the space and created it to be able to focus on the project. And so what happened is I chose Anchor to be my new platform. Okay? I created an Anchor account, and I reached out and I went through the process, and then there was a little bit of a hiccup, and so I reached out to Anchor. I didn't let it just affect me and me get upset and everything. I reached out to Anchor. I told them what was going on. I told them that I wasn't sure if the thing worked or not, and that I'm trying to transition my show over, because my vision is important. My vision, I want to be able to do podcasts with other people and everything. So me just allowing things to just sit there, the energy was built up so much that it needed to be pushed forward. And so I took the reins, I contacted them, they set it all up, and now I have a new platform. And of course, what did I do right after that? I researched, how can I do a podcast with other people from afar and complete this podcast? And so something happened. I looked up this one particular YouTube video, and it told me that I think it's called Riverside FM allows you to send a link to someone, and you can even podcast with video or without video. And I thought that was absolutely fantastic. Now, I have not tried this out yet, and so I'm hoping that the next podcast that I release through Anchor, okay? I'm anchored down, baby, okay? I pray that is with another beautiful soul, and that I can really put all this energy of all this stuff that I've been learning, and all the conversations that I've been holding space to be able to create this beautiful, beautiful platform of Energy Speaks, and bring it to all of you guys, and hold some very sacred conversations. So I just want to say thank you all for listening to Energy Speaks podcast. And if you're in America, I will be flying to the States on August 3rd. And so if anybody would like, I'm going to be holding some classes and a workshop, and even doing some sessions with people. And if you're interested and you're in the St. Petersburg area, St. Pete, Tarpon, Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, and you want to do something in person, I will give you the details. And please tune in to Energy Speaks by Catriel.com, and I will put updates. And follow me on Facebook, and I'll put updates there as well. And of course, I have Energy Speaks jewelry line. It's up and ready to go. And of course, if you would like a session or a class for me to teach a class or anything like that, and you would like it online, I am 100% open to doing that as well, through Zoom or what have you. Now, also Europe, okay? I'm going to Europe I'll be in England on the 29th. We'll have Shabbat with a friend, but on Harry Potter's birthday, I'll be going to see the Cursed Child. Yes, Bezrat Hashem. And if anybody wants to meet up while I'm in London, I will be there. And also I will be heading to Dublin on August 1st and heading up to Derry, London Derry. If you're in that area and you would like to meet up, please reach out. I will be in town until August 2nd, and on August 2nd I'll be in Dublin fully, and hopefully going to the Leprechaun Museum. So if anybody wants to connect, I'm here and readily available. So a lot of exciting things happening. And I just want to say thank you again to all the listeners. And we have a lot of cool things coming up. I can feel it. And so here's the thing. When you have your dream, never give up. Never give up. Have those moments to set the sacred space. Have those moments to reflect. And I didn't even go through this on the show, but reflect on what happened a year ago. It will give you some insights, and I promise you, whatever you were feeling stuck in will flow. It will flow. Put the intention in it. I love you all, divine, beautiful souls, and I can't wait till our next meeting in this sacred space. Over and out. Shalom.